Welcome back. I'm Nate. That's Tony. Today we're recapping the 2023 Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. We haven't touched on NFL awards yet either, Tony. So we're going to touch on NFL honors instead of awards. We'll be touching on our favorite Super Bowl commercial, drafting our top 5 Super Bowl performances of all time, ranting and raving, and getting out of here with the banger of the week. But first, as always, Tony, what is top of mind for you?
Nate, have you ever clogged a toilet at work? I'm assuming yes. Yep, the answer is yes.
At work.
We didn't even discuss that. So, pro tip, if you have a job, the only time you should be taking a dump is at work. I will hold it all weekend and wait till Monday morning to take a dump. I will only do it on the government's time. But my top of mind, imagine clogging a toilet so hard and so bad that you get fired over it. One, that's a major accomplishment. Congratulations, sir. But apparently a dude forgot to flush at work, and when a coworker came across it, the toilet clogged. And it was terrible. The culprit was later fired. He admitted to this on Reddit, and it was reported by random news outlets on the internet. But the story's funny, but it really grinds my gears, chaps my ass. Who poops, wipes, and then flushes, or in this guy's case, does not flush? You poop, you flush, you wipe, you flush, and if you need to keep doing that, you just continue that cycle. You don't flush with the poop and the toilet paper. That's how you clog a toilet. Am I wrong, Nate? Is that the strategy?
So a couple weeks ago we talked, and I was like, I got other things I want to bitch about, right? I have a list of things I wanted to rant about for our rant rave section. At work or public toilets, and especially specifically the toilets that are at my work, are one of the things I wanted to bitch about. And we didn't talk about this because I had no idea you were going to talk about this, but I'm glad because I could check this one off. One, the courtesy flush. I am a courtesy flusher while at work, right? The problem is these toilet bowls at work are so damn low and shallow, and the water pressure is so high that when I flush, I have water splashing my bung while I'm trying to wipe, and then my ass is wet. The other day I did this, right? And I try to do a pretty good job. I say try because I obviously didn't do a good job, and that's why I do a good job. I wipe the shit out of my ass, but the problem is one of them, if you lean over to the side or you try to get yourself a little angle to wipe better, it'll flush. So your hand's in the damn toilet and it's flushing, spraying water up at your ass. And then after, I'm like, okay, whatever, man. I can feel my ass is damp. So I grab a bunch of toilet paper and I wipe both sides of my cheeks, in between everything, and I think I'm good to go. I stand up, put my underwear on, pull them up, because I don't pull both of them up at the same time. I'm not an animal. I pull up my underwear, then I fix my socks, and then I pull up my pants. And I pull up my underwear, and I already know that I missed a spot, because now I can feel that my underwear are fucking soaked. It's 8:30 in the morning, Tony. I got a meeting with some high-level officials at 9 o'clock, and now I'm over here panicking because I got tan khaki pants on, I got a damp ass, and I need to figure this thing out, and it's not going to help if I go back and wipe it because my underwear are already wet. So once I sit down in a chair, I'm done for. And in the place that I work, we don't have those automated hand dryers. We use paper towels and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's not like I can just put my hand by it and then get it to start and then throw my ass towards it or something like that and look like a total buffoon as dudes are walking in the bathroom while I'm heating up my asshole for some reason. But I hate them. I hate the courtesy flush. Tony, we spent time 2 different times because your people relieve my people. And by that, I mean the Italians and the Americans. But in the Middle East, we spent time at the same place in the Middle East. Did you courtesy flush while you were in the Middle East?
I always courtesy flush. If you have a normal toilet, maybe there's some instances where you can't do that. But if you have a normal toilet, public restroom, why would you drop a turd and just sit there and fester in that smell? Just flush it. Just flush it.
We had
stand
to
up. Just stand up. If you get some bidet action, that's a bonus, in my opinion.
The ones where we were in the Middle East, right? Where we were in the Middle East and we had flushing toilets and stuff like that, right? When you courtesy flushed, the water that came back up into the bowl, it wouldn't splash you. It was cool from the splash, but the water that came out of those toilets was piping hot. So it would
Oh
literally
yeah,
steam as you had your ass there, and you would just sweat.
yeah,
And it's already 137, 140 outside in the middle of July, August, September, all that kind of stuff in that region.
lovely, lovely climate.
I've
Yeah,
those are the worst toilets in the world, the worst.
yeah.
But I
A
do
later
agree, courtesy flush.
a later undisclosed location I went to had the honor of going to had porta potties, so that was lovely.
Nice.
Same climate, same
Yeah.
climate. Yeah, terrific.
You get a chocolate mountain. It's like Minecraft. Like that's the,
Oh, dude,
how far can we build this thing
I
before they come clean it out?
I was convinced that normally they lease those things or rent them out for like a month or they're on some
Yeah.
contract. I was convinced the ones we had, they dropped off and they just couldn't get back on base because they never like refilled them. It was disgusting. That's a very, very apt description of what ended up happening in those things. Nice.
That's funny. That's funny. But yeah, I'm a courtesy flusher as well. But I
Thank
hate
you.
it. I'm glad you afforded me the opportunity to get that rant off. I could check that one off my list of
You're
notes
welcome.
that I have top of mind for me. Um, I don't know. I guess just a shout out to this is weird and it's not going to pertain to anybody who doesn't live in our region of Colorado Springs, right? And even the people that live in Colorado Springs, it probably won't resonate with them. But last night, Friday night, I went over to Pine Creek High School. My 10-year-old daughter's playing basketball now, so she wants to watch basketball. Pine Creek High School here in Colorado Springs is I believe they're a top 5 team in the state of Colorado at the 6A
Damn.
level, which is the highest level for Colorado women's basketball. But they sealed up the Colorado Springs Metro section championship last night. So they're the number one team at 6A in Colorado heading into the playoffs. But last night was pretty fun. They played Dougherty High School, and it was two different styles of basketball being played against each other. And people were like, yeah, girls basketball, well, it's not all that good. They're not that athletic. Girls at younger ages are way more athletic now than what we've been watching on television, whether that may
Hmm.
be like the WNBA and all this kind of stuff. We just watched Caitlin Clark last night break the all-time scoring record for women's basketball, outpacing Kelsey Plum and her record that she had prior to. Shout out to Kelsey Plum. You're so sexy. And I want to, if you ever leave Darren Waller, hit me up in the comments here on YouTube. But that's like my daughter's like idol right now is Kelsey Plum. So, but you see the shots that like Caitlin Clark takes. The girl from UConn is also pretty awesome, and a lot of these girls at the high school levels have way better handles, way better shooting, footwork, and everything like that. It was pretty cool to see. But shout out to the Pine Creek High School women's basketball as they head into the playoffs in Colorado. So we've been spending a lot of time watching their games, their home games, and stuff like that lately. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty electric too. Close game. Came down to the final minute. Pine Creek went on a 6-0 run to win by 5. They were losing at half and all that kind of stuff too. Crowd was pretty amped up. Filled up about half of the gym there, and they got
Hmm.
about 25 rows of seats on each side of the court. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of people there. A lot of big defense calls. That's probably why if my voice sounds weird, it's because I'm trying to recover from losing my voice last night. Me and my daughter Layla were the starters of the defense chant with stomping on the bleachers and stuff like that, and it got so loud because we got
It's a
everybody
must.
to do it. And it was a real joy because you know me, Tony. I'm a fan of starting a good old chant, whether that's at a high school game,
Ye-
a 4th grade basketball game, or Dodgers
Yeah.
at the Rockies. I don't know.
That's what I don't get. Like you're into starting chants. However, you're vehemently against the wave. It doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense to me. Doesn't make
No,
any sense.
because
But
starting a chant is so alpha. Being a part of the wave with 50,000 other people just because they're doing it, no, we're not sheep here. We're wolves.
so what I'm hearing is you want to be the one to start the wave. We got to sit in the outfield, center field, Coors Field. You always see the guys
No.
out there who start it. So that's who you need
It's
to be.
the worst. It's
I
the
wrote it
worst,
down.
dude. Start the wave, Nate. Start the wave.
Yeah, dude, underrated women's basketball. There are already like a ton of good players. probably mentioned a couple, but was it Ionescu is a really good one. Aladeladon.
Yeah.
There's
Yep.
some other legends who are kind of reaching the end of their careers, but we're going to start betting on it. I know David already indulges a
Dude,
little bit. Maybe you do too, but it's coming.
I
I'm pretty sure it's coming.
so I was at work and the U.S. women's national team had qualifiers in Belgium 2 weeks ago. So they had 3 games, and I can't get the damn stream to work on our work computers. Um, it would take me to the page, but it would never load the stream. So I'm watching like the updating score, box score stuff
Yeah.
or whatever, right? And our buddy Matt, who works in my building, he's in my shop area, and he comes by and he's like, "What are you watching?" And I was like, "Oh, U.S. Women's National Team's in Belgium for qualifiers. They're playing so and so. I think they're playing Belgium, game 1 of that tournament." And he was like, "What are you following that for?" I was like, "I may have a good amount of money on this, and I'm in a deep sweat right now because Belgium's coming out to
Okay.
play."
You're
It's a
already
thing. We might
noted.
we
Yeah.
we're gonna start a Taco Corp women's sports channel here on the
And
YouTube.
then
So
gotta find your
hit
niche and
subscribe
just
so you know where that
stick with it.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move on to the sports. So let's go through NFL honors first. The awards. Because I don't know how much Super Bowl thoughts we're gonna have, but you got let's start here at the top. So you got Lamar Jackson as the MVP, Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett, Defensive Player of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, Coach of the Year, CJ Stroud and Will Anderson Jr., both of the Houston Texans, as the Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year, respectively, and the Comeback Player of the Year, Tony, and Joe Flacco. Any thoughts, reactions on NFL honors? Do you believe that they all went to the right people? Would you have put anybody else in there? Or just thoughts on how the voting went as well?
I mean, I have a few like quick notes and then maybe a couple more where we linger a little bit. But Coach of the Year, I thought Stefanski deserved it. Tons of injuries. I think they went through about 19 starting quarterbacks. Ended in Joe Flacco, who I also thought deserved his Comeback Player of the Year award. Not this, play one snap for Damar Hamlin because he was declared, deceased. Last season? I didn't like that one. So I thought Flacco was deserved as well. Offensive Player of the Year, CMC, stud, deserved. You could make the case that MVP, 2,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, won us a ton of anytime score bets. Those odds were never high enough. So I liked all those. Offensive, defensive rookie of the year. What were the Texans last year? Like a 3-win team, 4-win team, maybe? Mm-hmm. And they made the freaking playoffs this year. So I thought that was deserved as well for those guys. Even though I'm a Rams fan and Puka Nacua had like a record setting year for a rookie wide receiver, like long-standing records, like 30 years, 40 years, and also records I think that Jalen Waddle set a couple years ago. So I don't know. Maybe that's also now the offensive rookie there. That's a quarterback award now. Is that what I'm sensing? Yeah. Let's see. The two that I will linger on, you probably have thoughts on MVP. So I'll go to Defensive Player of the Year. Myles Garrett took this one. Lots of Browns here. So I was looking at the stats. There's always that chart, right, that shows like win rate, pass rush win rate on one axis, and the other axis is like double team rate. Myles Garrett is like way off to the right. Double teamed almost every play, right, and also winning almost every play. People, I think, were making the case for like TJ Watt or Micah Parsons or Nick Bosa. But he had 82 wins as far as pass rush goes. Second only to Micah Parsons, trailed him by a couple. But he was double teamed 29% of the time. TJ Watt, for context, won 5% less than Myles Garrett and was only double teamed on about 14% of the plays. He's usually an edge rusher, right? So he's not going to get the kind of attention that Garrett has. Garrett also had 73 run stop wins, or a 31% win rate there. Micah Parsons and TJ Watt, nowhere to be found inside the top 10. I think Garrett was like 5th in that category. And what I will say with this one, and again, Rams fan, maybe some bias, Aaron Donald won 57 times from the interior part of the line. That's the only place he lines up. And he was double teamed. Micah Parsons double teamed 29 to 30% of the time, and Myles Garrett up there. Aaron Donald, you know how many times this dude was double teamed, Nate?
I'm gonna throw a number out there. I'm gonna say 72.684.
I mean, that's a good guess. It's higher. It's 63. 63% of the time. Yeah, he still won 57 times. He was tied with Chris Jones for the highest pass rush win rate, but didn't have the normal Aaron Donald. So he's getting a little older, but I thought Garrett deserved that one. The MVP one, Lamar Jackson. So just to go over his stats, 3,600 passing yards, kind of mediocre. But this year for quarterbacks, like it was like we had probably what, 2 or 3 that we were in agreement. Like, yeah, these guys are breaking 5,000. Just didn't happen this year. Offense is just down a little bit. Lamar, so 3,600 passing yards, 67% completion percentage. That's respectable. 8 yards per attempt, 4th in the NFL. 24 touchdowns through the air, another 5 added on the ground. I will say, and this is where you've given him a little bit of criticism or grief, deep ball completion percentage was a mark on his season, but he was 3rd in adjusted air yards per attempt, 5th in pressured completion percentage, so he was getting after it even though the pocket was collapsing right, 4th in true passer rating, 3rd in EPA, 4th in red zone completion percentage, so making key throws when it mattered most. Kind of hit or miss, though, depending on what stats you're digging into, but with the other guys who were up there, CMC's not getting it. This one is for sure a quarterback award, or it has become that. Mahomes had a down year. Josh Allen, great stats, absolute turnover machine, almost buried them early on in the year, right? Brock Purdy not coming close to what Lamar did on the ground. So after kind of looking at some of the, the deeper stats, the underlying metrics for all these guys, I was fine with Lamar. You didn't get what you wanted in the playoffs, but that's just how it's been for those guys in Baltimore. So I'm sure you have thoughts.
Yeah. For Lamar Jackson being the MVP and being touted on the internet for being an MVP, or people getting mad at Aaron Schatz for being the only guy who didn't vote Lamar MVP, and being the guy who stopped it from being an unanimous MVP or unanimous or whatever like that. He voted for Josh Allen. For all the people out there touting all that kind of stuff are the same people who say that wins are not a quarterback stat, and the only reason that Lamar Jackson gets the MVP is because they beat the 49ers on Christmas Day.
Handily.
It's literally the only reason why. Yeah. And he was still outpaced by a guy who turned the ball over 4 times. He had more opportunities than anything to he had, I believe it was 4 more rushing yards and less passing yards than the guy who turned the ball over 4 times. But yeah, most valuable person on that team was obviously Lamar Jackson. I would have picked other people for it. I think that Josh Allen was a little bit more deserving than Lamar Jackson. The only reason why is turnovers and a record. But Josh Allen is the only reason that the Buffalo Bills made the playoffs in the first place, and got to where they were.
I agree. I think he's also the reason why they were out of playoff contention for the first half of the year. Like he buried them, and it took them firing Ken Dorsey and kind of changing how they approach the games a little bit, handing the ball off a lot more, right?
And for as much crap as a guy like Brock Purdy gets because of the weapons around him, Lamar Jackson once again had the number 1 rushing offense in the NFL to deal with. Still can't throw outside the numbers to save his life either. So I would have preferred them give it, not just because I'm a Niner dude, but Brock Purdy played his ass off. But I think he's also in a prove it moment in the NFL in his career, whether you like it or not. It's just how it is. But I like the Josh Allen piece of it a lot more. What he did for that team, getting them to where they were, winning the division, getting a home playoff game, and all that was something that was a lot more valuable than somebody with the best defense and the best offensive running game in the NFL.
It was very valuable for Nate and I. That's for damn sure.
Josh
Allen getting them to the playoffs and winning that division.
Who played in a division where Joe Burrow didn't play practically all year, and played against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who never had a quarterback and had turmoil within their own team, who just weren't good at all, somehow got over 500 because that's what they do. And the Cleveland Browns, who didn't have a quarterback, and the 19 injuries, 30 injuries, and they have 3 award winners. Because they beat the Niners, it is what it is. I'm good with Offensive Player of the Year. I don't think there's anybody else that comes to that. Defensive Player of the Year, I really don't care. I don't know how you measure Defensive Player of the Year. And it's basically just a pass rusher award. Has nothing to do with tackles. You had a guy, I believe, break the interception return for touchdown record this year as well. I don't know. It's hard to say who's the best defensive player of the year. It always comes down to the front four. It's never going to be anybody on the back end. But there's plenty of dudes out there who were pretty damn solid on the back end. You look at a guy like Kyle Hamilton, for instance, or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Take him off of that team. What does the back end of that Baltimore Ravens defense look like? So, Coach of the Year, I'm good with. I think if it went to Stefanski, you were going to get C.J. Stroud as Offensive Player of the Year for the rookies. And then if it went to someone like DeMeco Ryans for what he did, like I think DeMeco Ryans, it's hard when you have to cycle through so many quarterbacks to be like, okay, yeah, this dude still got him there or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like we forget that a guy named P.J. Walker beat this Baltimore Ravens team and Lamar Jackson also, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's pretty damn good. But if it were to go to DeMeco Ryans, then they would have put Puka Nacua at Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think that's probably how it should have gone, but it's hard to get rid of this Stefanski thing. So I think that's what weighted a little bit. I think people were going to put more stuff on, hey, this guy was a rookie quarterback and did this, led his team to the playoffs. It was exciting and all that kind of stuff. And it's only because the Rams weren't like winning 12, 13 games or something like that. Mm-hmm. If the Rams win 12 games and they compete for the division, I think that you end up with Puka Nacua as Offensive Rookie of the Year. Because even after Cooper Kupp came back, you break all those records. You're a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. Like, and then the best ones that we think about, like Justin Jefferson, right? Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, all these guys, right? Like just playing better football outside of the Tyreek Hill thing. But Puka Nacua was healthy all year also. So I think you can make a case for those things. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I think that was right.
Sure.
Comeback Player of the Year is one I do have an issue with. And
really?
I only have an issue with because what did Joe Flacco come back from? And the argument was made that he came back from being elite to going to nothing and then coming back and playing well. He didn't have a job. The only reason he came back was mid-season because it was a loaded roster. You had 3 entities from the Cleveland Browns who did they make the playoffs, Tony? They have the best coach, the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Did they win a game in the playoffs?
No,
they got fucking smashed with Joe Flacco. But you have the coach, the defensive player, and a comeback player at the most important position in the NFL, and they did nothing with it. And the guy only played 6 games, lost the first one. You look at who they played, they didn't play a damn team for the whole time that Joe Flacco was there. They didn't play a good, solid team the entire time. And you had Baker Mayfield do this the entire year when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were looking like they were good. No one picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the NFC South, right? It was either going to be, okay, Saints, the Falcons have all these weapons, or the Saints, right? The Saints brought in Derek Carr. And Baker Mayfield outplayed everybody and led the team. They went up into Green Bay, got a win, all kinds of stuff. They beat actual teams that were in the playoffs. And I think it would have been better if Baker Mayfield got it. I would have liked it better if Matt Stafford got it because he also supported a number 5 wide receiver in the NFL this year, coming off basically a broken back, neck, whatever, shouldn't be playing football. And he just takes hits left and right. I would have rather had Matt Stafford there. But my big issue with it is that there are people who voted Joe Flacco won, because Joe Flacco won this award with more second place votes than DeMar Hamlin. Because DeMar Hamlin had more first place votes than Joe Flacco. Mm-hmm. So there were people who said, you know what, Joe Flacco's my comeback player of the year with 33% of the NFL season being played over a dude who died. But then they put the dude who died second on their ballot. It was essentially like, you know what, coming back from death is pretty awesome, right? You did make a couple tackles in NFL football games. But Joe Flacco coming back from the Jets, not having a job, failing as an announcer when he tried to audition for an announcer, and coming back and playing football for a roster that is absolutely loaded on the defensive end, one of the best offensive lines, the best running games in football, Amari Cooper. Come on. David Njoku.
Well, he made Njoku look real good.
But they voted Damar Hamlin number 2. Either you put him at number 1 or you leave him off because you don't care. You say it doesn't matter that you almost died.
Sure.
They still put him on the ballot.
I mean,
and it basically said, hey, 4 weeks of Joe Flacco playing NFL football at the quarterback position and then beating dog shit teams is more of a comeback than us stopping NFL football on a Monday night, stopping a game, wondering if we're going to replay it or not.
It's just not as impressive with the advances in modern medicine. Anybody
it's
can
not
be
as impressive as Joe Flacco. A Super Bowl. And you know what? And it's funny because you should see this. You see the smiles and the joy of Joe Flacco getting this award and being happy. You were a Super Bowl winner who got paid hundreds of millions of dollars after winning a Super Bowl, called yourself elite, and then you couldn't even get on the field for the fucking Jets. And then you couldn't get another job in the offseason, so you're sitting at home. You try to be an announcer. They say, yeah, we don't want you after you auditioned. And then you give the Browns a call because they have P.J. Walker starting at quarterback in DTR.
He was saving himself for the right partner just to marry himself with the perfect roster.
The dude was on like Josh Allen turnover ratio as well too, so whatever. That was my only thing. You can't. Why put Damar Hamlin number 2? Just so you can save some face?
Modern medicine. They're smart. Stupid. The voters
Thoughts
are smart.
on Super Bowl. Thoughts on the Super Bowl. Chiefs 25, 49ers 22. We've had to wait a little bit. Your wife, I heard my daughter, my young one, because she hangs out with your wife because they're in the same grade, not same classroom, but same grade. So they're on the recess field all the time, whatever. All right. My daughter said that your wife told you not to talk to me. Don't text Nate because it's not going to be a good day in his household. It was like after the game or something like that. Or, hey, give Nate some time. Like she was concerned about my well-being and my daughter's well-being and stuff like that. Your thoughts on Super Bowl?
We wanted to let you guys grieve appropriately. So we respected your
My 10-year-old daughter went to bed crying that night because the 49ers lost. 10 years old, female.
Yeah, I didn't want to FaceTime you guys and rub it in your face that night, and that's a good reason.
This is why I don't go to Super Bowl parties.
That's why we didn't invite anyone over. So Kansas City, I thought they came out way too conservative. I think they maybe punted the first 2 or 3 drives. I think you saw that boil over, the frustration with Kelsey and some of the offensive players. They just got fired up on the sidelines, right? That's probably a whole nother discussion. He's always kind of been like a loose cannon, though. If you've watched Kelsey, like his first few years, he was constantly getting called for like unsportsmanlike conduct and stuff like that. So that comes out every now and then. I think that's just what that was. Just emotion getting the best of him. Biggest game of the year, right? In that spot, you think the offense can do more. You think you can do more for the team, but you're just not getting targeted. So I understand it. Not a good look, but I get it. I'm not going to hold it against him. I thought the defense was fantastic. We praised Spags on the last one, and I thought he picked up where he left off. San Fran did score some points, but I think in large part, Kansas City was able to get back in the game because of that defense, the Chiefs defense kind of, containing, bending, not breaking. I think a lot of announcers like to use that. But it's just tough to bet against Mahomes. We've learned that lesson a couple times, especially in the playoffs this year. That's why I did not do that in this game. I thought San Fran should have kicked in overtime. If we fast forward to that moment, you get a chance to play defense. You put the pressure on the Chiefs offense. And if they score, then you get 4 downs every 10 yards, right, to move the ball down the field. So maybe there's some analytics out there, some percentages that Shanahan dug into. I don't know. Okay, but who knows? But that's kind of my thought. I thought Kansas City came out too conservative. Defense bailed them out. And then it's just Reed and Mahomes. It's tough to stop them. You don't put them in that spot, though, in overtime.
Yeah, I don't. The Niners lost the game, I believe, more than the Kansas City Chiefs won the game. And I don't think it is for a lot of the reasons that are out there, or that are being talked about. The San Francisco 49ers, when they scored that field goal at the beginning of the second quarter, legitimately should have been up 21-0. They were running the ball. They were controlling it. The play action was awesome. Christian McCaffrey fumbles on the first drive. They're getting 6 yards a pop at this point.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there like, okay, we need a confidence builder for our quarterback, but more importantly, a confidence builder for our damn head coach, because this dude shits bricks every time it's a big game, right? Mm-hmm. And you get a fumble by Christian McCaffrey. Kind of funny clip that's coming out now is on that play. George Kittle was blocking the dude who recovered it. George, I don't know, something that sounds Russian. Yeah.
Karlaftis. Yeah.
Is it Polish? I don't know. Like, you got fans in Poland, right?
We may never know.
But there's a clip where George Kittle is blocking him, right? And he's out of the play. Like, George Kittle expects this play going this way. He's blocking dude 4 yards away from the ball this way. Play's kind of over. And he goes, "Hi, George." He tells him, "Hi, George," right? But then it's like you see the quick turn because this dude dives for the football because it's loose or whatever like that, right? And Kittle missed the fumble recovery by, I don't know, probably like a foot or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, but you fumble the ball there. Then you 3-and-out the Chiefs and you get the ball back. And you just, hey, we just had a drive. We were moving the ball. We got them. And we just stopped them, right? We got some confidence right now. And as the 49ers, you come out, false start, 1st and 15, run a play, get stopped. Next play, holding on the offense. And now you're sitting here at like damn near 3rd and 20. And penalties just move you back. And then you end up getting yourself, like, I think it ended up being like a 4th and 5 or something like that. So you're still moving the ball and you got to punt, right? You should have had points in those first 2 drives. And then you get the field goal on the next one. You come out in the second half. Like, Kyle Shanahan, again, doesn't use timeouts before the second half or before the first half is up. And uses them. Why even use them way late? It doesn't make any sense. But doesn't use them to give the offense any time to possibly go down and get a field goal if you can stop the Chiefs and get them into a field goal, which is what ended up happening. And then in the second half, you come out and it's pass, 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 punt, pass, 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 pass. And the first 2 drives, you don't run the ball. And it's like, here we go again. Because this is why the Atlanta Falcons lost the Super Bowl when, God damn it, Devonta Freeman should have been an MVP, and I had like plus 3,000 MVP odds tickets on that dude. Him and Tevin Coleman both. Ooh, and you lose 28-3 because all he did was pass the ball with Matt Ryan in that second half. It's the same thing that happened in 2019 when they lost the Super Bowl to the Kansas City Chiefs, and you're up 10 points with 8 minutes to go, and you lose by 11 because you're pass. And I just had a dope running game then too. And you come out pass. You have 2 drives that are stallers, and you needed to get points. Like, you get the ball there so that you can go down and score. And then obviously the muff punt, or whatever like that. That sucks. 1 play touchdown. But outside, Mahomes finished with 333 yards passing, right? But if you look at the drives where he actually had passing yards, it was the end of the first half, the end of regulation, and then in overtime. It was 3 drives. And on the Niners' last drive before end of regulation, was it end of no, it was in overtime, 2nd and 5, and then you pass the ball, 0-yard reception by George Kittle, and you should have just probably ran it there, try to get 3, give yourself options. Because you know that they're going to send the house and they're going to 0 cover, and that's what they did all day. When you get down at the goal line and it's 3rd down and whatever, right? And this clip is out there where Colton McKivitz obviously misses another block because why would you not block the guy closest to the quarterback, and his name's Chris Jones, and just leave a wide open gap for him to rush the passer.
Yeah.
And they run a fucking, like, the Niners called a timeout before that play because they got up to the line. Brock Purdy sees zero, cover zero, calls a timeout. Okay, hey, we know they're going to bring the house. What are we drawing up? And then you draw up something, and should Colt McKivitz had blocked Chris Jones, or at least chipped him, maybe the pass comes off because they ran Jauan Jennings on a zig route. So he goes and slants it into the left, and then he comes back out to the right, beats the corner. He's got like 2 yards on this dude. And he catches that ball, he's walking into the end zone, and the Niners score a touchdown in overtime. But nope, doesn't get blocked. Ball can't get out in time. It is what it is. But the problem I see is not the play calling by Kyle Shanahan, not the timeout stuff, not not running the ball. It's the fact that I don't know if Kyle Shanahan is ever going to allow or teach quarterbacks and develop them to make calls on their own. And we talked about this with
probably not
with Sean McVay when he had Jared Goff, right? It was always in the ear. You had 2 plays and you ran either one of those, and that's what you ran.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't do anything different until Matt Stafford came in there. But in that instance, all the great quarterbacks, when we talk about the difference in Mahomes, guys like Aaron Rodgers is phenomenal at this, right? Is when you get up to the line, you see something, you got a 1-player hot route because Jauan Jennings is fucking tall, and that corner is not fucking tall. You have Jauan Jennings on his own out there, and it's the wide side of the field, and you got all this space. I mean, 15 yards to work with. Why are you not just running Jauan Jennings into the end zone? Throw it up, let him make a play. And they didn't do it. And I don't know
if too.
Like, that is what I'm going to look for so much in the 49ers offense next year, because Brock Purdy can run the offense. There's no doubt about that. He was the most efficient passer that's ever happened in the NFL's history. But if he can't go up there and you don't teach that dude to read things and then just be able to make his own calls and work autonomously.
We got there.
The Niners are going to be fucking terrible, and it sucks for my emotions. But I don't have too much of a problem with the Niners taking the ball there. Obviously, yeah, you get the 4 chances on the back end, but the game is the game, and you have to score a touchdown, and you have to stop the other team from scoring a touchdown in overtime, right?
And they didn't do either of those things. So, yeah,
and you didn't do either one of those things, right?
Yeah.
Steve Wilkes gets fired after the game. Day after, Kyle Shanahan's like, yeah, we'd like to keep everybody. This. Next morning, dude, shit can't. I think the writing was on the wall for the whole season.
Yeah.
He's just what the Niners have built for player personnel and what they function well in. He did not do well in running that style of defense, which they want to run. But I think the big breaking factor for it, or the straw that broke the camel's back. Speaking of camel, shout out to our buddy Trey, who doesn't listen to this, for betting on camel racing. That was pretty awesome to see in the group text. He's on camel racing.
True degenerate.
When the Chiefs are driving at the end of the 4th quarter, and you're going zero coverage, straight up man, and you're sending blitzes, but you have 5 defensive backs sitting 15 yards back so you don't get burnt. The Chiefs. This is what they did against Buffalo Bills. Boom, dunk, 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 dunk. And they'll operate so fast because their offensive line doesn't continue blocking because they know that the play is going to be over like that. The ball's coming out hot. Mm-hmm. So all they do is run up to the line. They boom, 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 and then they run to the line together. They're down. So 10 seconds doesn't even run off between plays. It's pretty crazy. But this one hurt. This one hurt bad because the Niners should have had points, and you just look at it and you're like, man, you have to score there because you can't give teams more opportunities. The Niners, I believe, were 3 of 16 on third downs, or Brock Purdy was 3 of 16 passing on third down, something like that. But you can't have that. But all it was the same coverage. They just sent the house. And if you don't have anything to beat it, Brock Purdy beat it one time really, really good with that dump down to Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, and you saw him kind of learn, like his arm angle learned from when they played the Baltimore Ravens. We talked about that tip pass off to the side to McCaffrey, whatever like that. And you saw him like change his arm angle and stuff like that. That was pretty dope. I thought he played well, but if he's not going to get developed to where he can make his own calls, the Niners are going to be doomed, and Brock Purdy will probably be out of the league in like 4 years because he'll probably get a second contract, and then they'll draft somebody else because they'll keep getting to this point. But that's just how the NFL is. But
yep.
I thought it was a good game. It's
It was
crazy
fun.
because it went to overtime, but a lot of people
Second
might
game
be like,
in the modern era, Super Bowl era,
yeah.
right? Pretty crazy.
But if this was, I heard somebody else talking about this. I forget who it was, but it was on like a sports betting radio or something like that. But they were saying that if this was the Carolina Panthers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a morning Sunday slate, and they had the exact same game be played out, nobody would talk about it past Monday. It'd be like, yep, they went to overtime and on to the next, right?
Yeah.
But because it was a Super Bowl, it was a big thing.
Yeah, most viewed event of all time. Is that right, or was it Super Bowl of all time? I thought I saw
This
something
was
about like
the
events.
most viewed sporting event of all time. Second most viewed, only behind the moon landing,
Damn.
which may or may not be real depending on what you follow on the internet. So
the most viewed event that actually happened is what we're saying.
yeah, that actually a real thing. But we don't even know if this is real. So thoughts on the halftime show? Did you watch
Check
the
out our
halftime
other
show?
show if you want to hear more about that and
Oh,
our flat Earth
Matt-
theories.
Math on taking the ball first. So there is about a. So I'm also kind of a math nerd. I know a lot of math. I don't talk about a lot of math, but there is a roughly 1.5% plus EV margin in going on defense first in overtime in the NFL with the new rules in the playoffs. So there's like a 1.5% advantage. And the 1.5% advantage has nothing to do with going for it on fourth down, but more so the opportunity to go for two should an offense go for one if they get the ball first and score a touchdown.
Oh,
So
I see.
ideally, what you'd want to do is you'd like to have the ball second. First team scores a touchdown. You score a touchdown. You go for two because you're not going to give it back to them.
Mhm.
You're more than likely you're never going to get that second possession or the third possession in overtime.
Yeah, they drive to the
Right.
40, kick a field goal or something. Sure.
But a less EV thing to do is to go down and score and then go for two because you know the other team's going to go for two. So with the probability of getting 2 yards at that point in the game in those situations is a little bit over 50% chance that you're going to make a 2-point conversion. You know where the ball is going as opposed to the defense knowing where the ball's going, right?
Yeah.
But if you go for two and you make it, now you're guaranteed a third possession in that standpoint. You also control the 2-point conversion narrative. It's not the best thing to do. You should kick it. Mathematically, you kick the extra point. You go up 7, give them the opportunity to pass or fail at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't think it really matters too much. But
Yeah, it
that's
seems
the
kind
math
of
on it.
negligible. But
I think if you were going to go first, you score a touchdown. Like you just score a touchdown. And then when you score a touchdown, you have an opportunity to go for 2 or not. But you have to score a touchdown in that situation to give yourself a fighting chance. So
Sure.
But,
Okay.
thoughts on halftime show?
Halftime show. I thought it was good. A lot of songs, a lot of vibes from like late 90s, early 2000s, kind of in the middle school, high school days, just becoming an adult. So I thought it was fine. I saw some hate about it initially, but I think about some of the past shows over the last decade. We've had some pretty bad ones. I thought this one was fine. Got Ludacris in whatever outfit they were wearing, Lil Jon in there. Like you knew that song was coming, but it was kind of cool. They saved it for the end. I thought that was a real good way to finish that show off, though. So I was okay with it.
My only problem. So I've seen Usher 2 times in my life live.
Really?
Yep.
Was he on was he on rollerblades the first time?
Not the first time, the second time.
Not the first time.
So I'm going to get to that too. But the first time I saw Usher, was back in the early 2000s. MP3 was kind of a new thing, so a lot of the concerts were being played off discs. So like old DJs would have CDs, right? And you'd put it in, and you'd play the music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Usher, you see it in the Super Bowl. He just doesn't sing the entire time. It's his dancing that is his show. But in the early 2000s, it was, we're at an amphitheater and the track skipped. So we knew that he wasn't, at that time, we didn't know, oh, this dude's not singing while he dances, right? Mm-hmm. But the track skipped, and it literally skipped, like the CD skipped while the concert was going on, and it pissed me off. Second time, I saw him 2 years ago. It was his opening weekend in Las Vegas at the MGM for his residency. So I saw his show that opening weekend. I happened to be there for the summer, and I got to see it. My problem is that the Super Bowl performance was basically his show set. Mm-hmm. The rollerblade thing is in his show at MGM. There was not much different from a costume set. Keys? No, she didn't come out.
Okay. All right, come on.
The people didn't come out. Ludacris came out opening weekend because I also saw Ludacris at Tao that weekend as well, because I saw Ludacris at like a pool party concert or whatever, and Ludacris did come to that one that I went to see Usher, but that was my only thing. Like, it starts with My Way, and then it moves into all the different R&B hits and stuff like that. Usher did say he wanted to have more of an R&B feel to the Super Bowl show, but that was my only issue with it. It was cool, but I hate when you have a halftime show, and I guess it's a halftime show, not a halftime concert, because you realize that the artists don't even sing their whole songs and stuff like that. They sing parts of it, and I want to see them sing and do their act, but it is what it is. Best Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah. There were some good ones. I think my favorite, though, is like this. It's so stupid. Just kind of silly, but it was the Eagles, the Ravens, and the Seahawks one. Again, they're very dumb. They're all flying. Like, they're birds, essentially, right? I was dying, though, especially when at the very end of that commercial, one of the Seahawks is on a bird feeder. I think I only saw it one time. I missed the second or third rerun of it, but I think it was like supposed to be Tyler Lockett, and he just makes like the bird like caw and just flies off. I was like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. But after watching like all the ones, I think I saw most of them, getting up and getting food. I may have missed one or two, but I thought that was like the funniest one. That one had me laughing pretty hard.
It was good. It was the first commercial too. Like the first commercial break right after, like, I think the national anthem or whatever, the first drive. It was like the first main commercial from the broadcast. So it that was pretty awesome. I thought that one was pretty good. I was also a fan of Stone Cold Steve Austin, Kawasaki and bullets and stuff like that. That was kind of really America-like. The Dunkin' Donuts one was good. And I think it was only good because they did such a good job of branding Boston in that.
When you get Matt Damon in there too.
Like that whole crew that meshes with Boston vibe and stuff like that, and Dunkin's a Northeast thing, right? So it was never like do you see the Dunkin' Donuts commercial? No, you see the Matt Damon or Ben Affleck Dunkin' Donuts, right? Or whatever like that. So, but my favorite one, it's going to sound weird, but my favorite one was the Google Pixel one because it highlighted like the positive parts of technology. And technology gets a bad rap, right? And the internet gets a bad rap and always being on your phone. But it was like all about like, it was the one Super Bowl commercial where if you were in a really bad spot, you might cry during. And I think that's kind of cool.
Did you cry?
But it had like, I didn't cry. No. This cool thing about Super Bowl is that there's longer commercials. So while I'm in a panic state and I need something to calm me down, I go outside and, inhale nicotine, which raises my heart rate, but somehow rip a cig. It just sounds cool, I think. I don't know. But I'm the only guy who says it. I'm a leader, not a follower. But not really. But the Google Pixel commercial I thought was pretty cool because it highlighted like the warmth side of having technology and it being a part of our lives and stuff when it gets a bad rap. So that was mine. My most hated one was the fucking Temu apps. Like, shop like a billionaire. Temu is like wish.com. Go fuck yourself. All your stuff is trash. It's like Alibaba like stuff that yuck. It's disgusting. The app is terrible. Don't do it.
That
It's
and
cheap for a
who
reason.
really, what gullible fool really believes billionaires shop like that? Like they might buy some exorbitant like house or boat or something, but those things are going to hold value. If they need to liquidate, they can. They can sell that for probably more than what they paid for, right? They're not buying dumb shit off Temu or Amazon or whatever, Alibaba or whatever app, right? So I
Hmm.
really, that one triggered me hard every time that
It
commercial came on, which
pissed
seemed to be
me.
like every other commercial break.
It was funny because I teach my kids about like budgeting and stuff, right? And they're shop like a billionaire, and like my 6-year-old's like, no billionaire is using that app.
Yes.
They don't
Yes.
buy dumb stuff they don't need.
Thank
It
you.
is because the billionaire is going on there for a 48-piece Tupperware storage stuff for your
Got to
for
got to
your
get himself an
pantry.
air
That's
fryer.
$7.43.
Yeah.
That one really pissed me off. Shop like a billionaire. And they ran that thing like 7 times. It felt
I
like every
saw it a
break.
lot. Yeah.
They spent a lot of money, and they do a lot of that like whatever, four easy payments of this or whatever like that stuff, where like people get really caught up in that kind of stuff. So
1999. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like whatever those things are in the shopping apps, right, or whatever like that. So all right. Super Bowl's behind us. We'll talk about other things in the Super Bowl that are behind us. And let's draft our top 5 Super Bowl performances of all time. Tony, do you want the first pick or do you want the turn?
I'll go with the turn on this one. I think
All
we
right.
might go in different directions here.
I don't know. I don't know.
I hope so because I only brought like 6 things.
Mm, I don't
7. I
know.
brought 7 things. I'm in trouble. I can sense it already.
I
I got
have
Google
the
open.
I have uh the Super Bowl performances by players, and then I have the just in case Tony tries to pull some shit list as well too. But now I'm gonna go number 1 is the Janet Jackson nipple slip in Super Bowl 38 with Justin Timberlake. There's no better performance out there whatsoever. It was live. It's before they started putting delays in TV, and we got to see
Yeah.
Janet Jackson's nipple live for the Super Bowl. It was amazing. I got Janet Jackson as my number 1.
For for many people, that was their first nipple. So for many people,
Yeah, this is like after they got rid of like the fuzzy channels and stuff like that, and you had to get one of those boxes to connect and
yeah.
everything. Like most
Like
most of our audience is in their 30s. They should
maybe not
understand
high
this.
def, but definitely standard at least, right?
Yeah,
Standard def. Yeah.
yeah.
My first pick, Nate. Do you know how many years it's been since we had an incident at the Super Bowl involving a power outage?
Don't don't do this to me. It was 2013, January, February. I remember because I came back from a deployment and I was told in 15 days you got to go work in some other state, so you can't
Yeah.
take your time off right now. Yeah, I remember it, and I was forced to watch it in some douchebag's house because he was buddies with our boss.
Yeah,
As
it's
a
been
matter
about
of fact,
7 years. There was a 30-minute power outage that propelled the Ravens to a Super Bowl win over the San Francisco 49ers. That performance by John Harbaugh's hackers or imposter electricians or whatever was a phenomenal display of engineering, planning, and execution all around. So give me the Ravens hacking team and electricians with their Super Bowl performance against the 49ers. With my first pick here, Nate, you took Nipplegate from me. That was 100% going to be my first pick.
yes,
That's okay, though.
I just had to
That's
take
okay.
that one. So okay,
That's good.
you got a second
Next one, Super Bowl 34. The Los Angeles Rams of St. Louis. Kurt Warner, 414 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Dominant. Greatest show on turf. This was right in the middle of it. Los Angeles Rams of St. Louis with my second pick. Kurt Warner. Super Bowl
That's
34.
the St. Louis. That should be their name. The St. Louis Rams of Los Angeles. The Los Angeles
Yeah, just
Rams
keep
of
it.
St. Louis of Los Angeles. That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
They did. There was some back
Suck
and
it,
forth. So
Angels.
yeah. Yeah. Suck
Yeah,
it.
suck it, Angels.
All right. What
All
do you
right.
got?
All right. My we are going to go with Super Bowl 19 because everybody says that
Whoa.
I am definitely going here because Brock Purdy. He wears number 13 because of Dan Marino, and word on the streets, as legend says, Brock Purdy was born during a Miami Dolphins game or something. I don't know what it is, but anyways, he's a big Dan Marino guy. He wears 13 for that reason. Not because he's like some Sureño from Southern California and wears, all blue LA and knee high white socks. But Joe Montana beats the Dan Marino led Miami Dolphins. Joe Montana at this time, he scored 4 touchdowns in this game, Tony. Real dual threat quarterback, 331 yards passing, 3 touchdowns through the air. Also 59 yards rushing and 1 rushing score. This is more than Lamar Jackson has ever done in any playoff game in his life by an old white dude in Super Bowl 19. I think that's in the 1600s. Like, that's how far back this goes. So it's not like the MVP of the league has been doing anything that hasn't been done before on the greatest stage on planet Earth with the most eyes watching it. Give me Joe Montana, Super Bowl 19 as my number 2.
That's a good one. Little known fact about Brock Purdy. You mentioned, the affinity for the number 13. He's got a Sir 13 tattoo on his left breast.
When he goes and plays all these good quarterbacks once again, he's going to start just adding teardrops under his eye and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's good.
He'll probably have to get a prison tat though, like not actually go to like a tattoo shop or something like that, because he's obviously on a budget. He has a roommate, and shops from Kohl's and stuff.
He spends a lot of time in Oakland, so if he's not part of a gang, he's going to be in the next couple years.
Yeah, he's going to be. So, Sura 13. That's good. I'm going to go Super Bowl 24. This is Joe Montana. He decides to, they're playing the Denver Broncos. He's like, hey, let me go make the most lopsided Super Bowl in history up to this point. And I'm going to drop 5 touchdowns on the Denver Broncos and set the record for most touchdowns in a Super Bowl. Joe Montana's Super Bowl. It is 24. It's actually 24. So yeah, Super Bowl 24.
So you take the Nipplegate from me, and then you followed up with 2 49er Super Bowl wins. Is that what we're doing?
Tony, we talked about my major depressive disorder earlier and my extreme anxiety. I have no fingernails left. Yeah. I've almost chewed off my toenails. I need this, okay? I just need this. Let me have it.
All right, my next
Our pets' heads are falling off.
Got no jobs, no food. Our pets' heads are falling. Yeah. My next one, Super Bowl 56, the Los Angeles Rams of Los Angeles. Cooper Kupp, 8 catches, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great line. That's a phenomenal line for that game. That kind of pressure. Dominant. Very, very key. I believe he caught the touchdown at the end of the fourth quarter, or towards the end of the fourth quarter, that put the Rams in front. So give me another Ram here with my third pick.
Nice.
Super Bowl 56. Love that performance from Cooper Kupp and those guys. My next one.
Shout out to Odell Beckham, who probably would have been Super Bowl MVP had he not been injured.
He was,
according to Odell Beckham, who can't play football.
Cooking. He was cooking in the first quarter and a half or so before he
how about PCL? Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, Whitegate right there. Like they ran a play. Sean McVay is so smart, he ran a play to get Odell's ACL tore. So Cooper Kupp, his love child, who was taking passes from Puka Nacua and not getting him Offensive Rookie of the Year.
He knew just the right route to call, the route combination for OBJ, just to get the right amount of torque on that knee. So
yeah,
Sean McVay's next level, if you haven't noticed. My fourth pick here, it's going to be Super Bowl 46. So the Tom Brady beating New York Giants of New York. Eli Manning, 296, just missed 300 passing yards, got a touchdown, and a massive dub over Tom Brady, the alleged GOAT. Can't even beat Eli Manning. Come on, Nate. Eli Manning, Super Bowl 46.
Was that the undefeated season?
Yes, it was.
That one was good. Eli Manning will be. Is he already? When can he be Hall of Fame eligible? Is he already in the Hall of Fame?
I don't know, but he should be. I think he should. I think he deserves it. Stats aren't world beating, but
it doesn't matter.
He's done it when it's counted, right?
He gave Tom Brady 2 Super Bowl losses.
Yeah,
he would have 9 9 Super Bowls, if not for Eli Manning. David Tyree, whatever. Mario Manningham, Victor Cruz. I got 2 left, Tony. Speaking of Super Bowl 24, where Joe Montana sets the record for most touchdowns passes in a Super Bowl game of 5 touchdowns. Just shortly 5 years later, Tony. That's half a decade. That's enough time for you to make a child, get him through diapers, potty trained, and off to school. Just in time for that. Steve Young goes and plays the San Diego Chargers in Miami and drops 6 touchdowns on them to set the all-time Super Bowl record for 6 touchdown passes. Still stands to this day. Super Bowl 29, Steve Young, 6 touchdown passes.
It's another 49er for those keeping tally.
If, Super Bowl 19, when Joe Montana goes and beats the Miami Dolphins, they win a Super Bowl. That's 1 Super Bowl for the Niners. You got Super Bowl 29, we talked about. Super Bowl 24, those are all Niners Super Bowls. Super Bowl 23, Jerry Rice had 11 catches, 215, and a touchdown. Just annihilating the field. The greatest offensive wide receiver performance of all time in a Super Bowl. Jerry Rice, the greatest wide receiver of all time. Super Bowl 23. That is my final pick for our top 5.
Did you have a 5th one? Tony? Did you have a 5th one with a 49er in it? Because my question is, why wouldn't you have done that and given me the goddamn Nipplegate pick?
2023 to 2024, Brock Purdy in the Super Bowl.
Correction on my last pick. That was Super Bowl 46. The year that the Patriots went into the Super Bowl undefeated was Super Bowl 42, which also happens to be my final pick here. So again, Super Bowl 42, the Tom Brady beating New York Giants of New York. Eli Manning, 255 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and again, a dub over the alleged GOAT, Tom Brady, wiping out the undefeated season. And I believe in this game, the Patriots were like double-digit favorites and were leading in the 4th quarter. Yeah. And they lost to Eli Manning.
They did Shanahan. They did Shanahan.
A Shanahan before pulling a Shanahan was even cool. That's cool, though, because later on they did that to Shanahan. So that's fair.
Yeah. Fucking gross.
Yeah.
Any honorable mentions, Tony?
I had Nipplegate. That was the only other pick that I didn't get to make because you took it from me.
No. See, I did good. I did good. That's why you don't take That's why you take the ball first in overtime, okay? Like you get out there, you get what you need first, and then you throw off the other team. They're combobulated, and they have to go pick the Rams for their Super Bowl best performances.
I really just wanted to say the Los Angeles Rams of St. Louis. That's really
that was good.
All that was.
I did have Super Bowl 22, Doug Williams. He was the first black quarterback to win one. 4 touchdown passes in the second quarter for the Washington Redskins. A lot's been made about the GOAT conversation because you got Patrick Mahomes, like you see, the GOAT. Tom Brady, the GOAT. Bill Belichick, the GOAT of coaching. Don Shula, the GOAT of coaching. Joe Gibbs was the best NFL coach of all time. He won Super Bowl with 3 different quarterbacks.
Yeah.
3 quarterbacks he won a Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, and let me see Mahomes, Brady, or Belichick run a NASCAR team. Can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. You got to get into those southern states, the Bible Belt.
Check your demographics.
My other ones were all halftime performances. So I had Super Bowl 27 at the Rose Bowl. Michael Jackson's performance for Super Bowl halftime was freaking awesome. He came out of there's no corner at the Rose Bowl, but the corner of the stadium all the way up top and everything like that. It was pretty sick. And just Michael Jackson being there, standing still, there's something about it. Then I had Prince at Super Bowl 41. His halftime show, he did Purple Rain, playing guitar in rain. Mm-hmm. That was pretty dope. And then I had the West Coast halftime showdown. Halftime show.
Yeah, that was.
They had lowriders bouncing
of all time. Yeah,
50
Cent dropping from the ceiling.
Yeah,
come on, man.
It was pretty cool. So, all right, recap our top 5 Super Bowl performances of all time. Tony's got Ravens Power Grid Hackergate, Super Bowl 34. Kurt Warner, greatest show on turf, Super Bowl 56. The LA Rams of St. Louis of Los Angeles, Cooper Kupp, 892 and 2 to beat. Who did they beat in that Super Bowl? it seems like a familiar thing between our Super Bowls of the team that was beaten. I don't. They were orange and
I
I don't know some.
can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, imagine your team being named after a zoo animal. Super Bowl 46, Eli Manning over the New England Patriots for a second time. Super Bowl 42, Eli Manning 255 and 2 over the New England Patriots undefeated team. I have Janet Jackson Nipplegate. Super Bowl, let's just go in chronological order. Super Bowl 19, Joe Montana 333, 359 on the ground, 1 touchdown on the ground. I mean, eat your heart out, Lamar. I mean, Joe Montana would be the MVP of the league right now with those type of numbers against Dan Marino. And then I got, 23, Jerry Rice 11, 215 and 1, 24, Joe Montana 5 touchdown passes to become the all-time touchdown pass record holder for Super Bowls against the Denver Broncos. And then in Super Bowl 29, Steve Young 6 touchdown passes in a Super Bowl. Still the record to this date. Even with 28-3 comeback. Tom Brady, who should not have been the Super Bowl MVP that year either. It should have been fucking James White. I had a ticket on him as well. You could ask Nick. He was in my hotel room. We were in Vegas for that Super Bowl, and I had bets on just the running backs to win Super Bowl MVP. Jeez. Let us know in the comments what you think your favorite Super Bowl performance was, or give us a top 5 right down below. Rants or raves, Tony? You got a rant or a rave?
Speaking of Dan Marino, we mentioned him a couple times. Was the NFL script to have the Dolphins in the Super Bowl? Because good God, he was in like half a dozen of those commercials. I feel like he was all over the place. I saw so much Dan Marino, and you don't normally see him like at all.
We do know that, it is here on the channel that I am probably the only person who had Super Bowl futures on the Miami Dolphins to win the AFC, to be the number 1 seed in the AFC, and all that kind of stuff. I have been online with the script of the NFL throughout the year too. And if I haven't been, I should have been, because you've obviously, updated my LinkedIn profile to be NFL script writer and all that kind of stuff. So, because you're trying to give me a gig. But yeah, I don't know. How about
did you update your LinkedIn?
No. No. How about John Elway having to give the Super Bowl trophy to the Kansas City Chiefs? That's pretty crazy too.
Yeah. Not that Broncos fans were watching.
Yeah, let's ride.
Not that Broncos fans were watching, but
let's ride.
So speaking of gullible people and conspiracies, that's what I'm going to rant about. I'm just going to rant about people being so gullible with politics or conspiracies or stupid viral TikTok Stanley Cups. Like, you know what I'm talking about. And you've heard people immediately buy into whatever, these trends are, or whatever the conspiracy, whatever national news network, whatever that talking point is. Abraham Lincoln, Nate, he had some thoughts about this. Do you know about his famous quote about this?
No, I do not know.
Abe once said, "People will believe anything they read on the internet." It's a true quote.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Twain did actually have a quote on that. He said, "It's easier to lie to someone than to get them to believe they're being lied to." And I think that's like pretty good representation of what's going on in our culture, probably a lot of the other cultures around the world, right? I think it's largely like due to the internet. Our grandparents and our parents, even, they kind of had to adjust on the fly, right? With the internet being so new. But our generation, like you and I, we have no excuses. We grew up with the internet, right? With the connected world. We should be able to navigate it better. We should be able to navigate it more responsibly. You shouldn't, believe the first thing you see when you open up Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is. I just say this because, like, I've noticed a lot of my like family and friends back home or here in the Springs, like they bought into some things, and I'm just like, did you Google this? Did you look into this at all? Just peel one layer back. You're making all of us look bad, though. That's kind of what I'm getting at. It really chaps my ass because it's just lazy. I think it's just a little bit lazy, and we can do a lot better.
Yep. One nation under God, indivisible, except the powers that be create divisiveness.
I mean, that's the best way to if you want to like go even 2 layers deeper, that's the best way to control a society, right? In my house, my kids, they're huge fans of Thin Mints, Girl Scout cookies in general, but if I eat all the Girl Scout cookies, I don't want them blaming me. I'm going to tell
Mm-hmm.
Evan, my youngest, that the
Mm-hmm.
oldest was eating them, and she already had dessert. And I'm going to tell my oldest that Evan was eating them after he already had dessert. And they're just going to fight,
Yup.
right? They don't even know.
Yep.
They don't even know what the dude behind the curtain's doing. He has Thin Mint crumbs all over himself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
that's probably, yeah, what you're getting at there.
Yeah. Um. I
And
think
just for the record, I did eat an entire sleeve of Thin Mints last night because
that's
I'm
not bad.
honest.
That's not bad.
I contained myself. I didn't go for the whole box neat.
I don't know how. So like, I like the tag along one, which is like the chocolate covered peanut butter
Uh-huh.
one, and I like to put those in the freezer or at least in the fridge, so they're nice and cold or whatever like that and whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
There's only like 15 or 20 cookies in that thing,
yeah.
or maybe 24. I don't know. But you pull it out, it's a
Thin
little
Mint's the
mini
best bang for
tray.
your buck, in my opinion.
I don't care for mint, but just me personally. But
That's fair.
it's just a little thing. Like I don't get why it's like it's so mind-boggling for people to be like, "Wait, you ate a whole box of those Girl
Do you,
Scout
wait,
cookies?"
do you eat the whole box when you open one?
I mean, not the cardboard. I eat all the fucking cookies in it, though. Yeah,
All
I
right,
eat all the
just
damn cookies. I do
all
that.
right.
Like that's what I do. I think that's what most look. Our country was not founded upon skipping and scamping on Girl Scout cookies. All right, we haven't won back-to-back world wars by not eating the whole damn box of Girl Scout
Yeah,
cookies.
for eating the recommended
Jesus.
serving size, which I think for Thin Mints is like 3. I think it's 3.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. The same people who recommend that serving size also flip the food pyramid and have like cinnamon toast crunch as better than eating fucking eggs and meat and stuff like that.
Oh
I don't
man,
know.
the
It's crazy.
that's for another episode. The
Yeah.
breakfast shenanigans, the breakfast cartel that have gotten us
Yeah.
to believe we have to eat it, and it needs to be, a bowl of sugar injected cereal. Come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And then wonder why half your commercials are about pharmaceuticals that have 30 that spend more time talking about your side effects.
Oh man,
Those things are fun. I think though,
yeah,
like I've made a concerted effort of not really being like on the internet much, right? Like social medias and all that kind of stuff. I don't do all that much.
it's good for your
Um,
health.
but when I do open up like X Twitter or I open up Reddit or even like TikTok, I like TikTok because my feed's pretty much like things I'm entertained by. And I like that. And you can kind of shape that and just have your following tab. And it's like creators I want to support, right? Um,
Yeah,
but I also don't, it shapes your feed so well that I don't get like what's happening in the US government and all that kind of shit on my feed. So, uh, but like getting off of that kind of stuff and like what everybody else is doing in the world has been really good for me. Um, and I'm glad I did it. Sometimes I do miss, reaching out to people or seeing what's going on in people's lives or whatever. I don't care to share my own, but
yeah,
um, sometimes I wish, I'd like to talk to that person. So I got to find ways to get people's numbers or whatever, but it's not
sure.
that bad. So I enjoy it. My rant. So I'm going to rant, but so Super Bowl Monday, I'm at work. I walk in. I'm the only Niner fan within like my office space, which holds probably, I don't know, 70, 80 people or something like that. Right. And
Mhm.
a lot of the people I talk sports with because they know I like sports. Everybody was very kind and very cautious. Like not many people said much. I went to go make a coffee in the morning in our little break room, and one of the guys who's a Baltimore Ravens fan, he just walks by, right? He sees me, and he just gives me like the head nod. Morning, Nate. And I'm going to get my coffee, and I look back, and I'm like, we could talk about the fucking football game, dude. You don't have to sit here and try to avoid the conversation with me. Like, it's cool. We could talk about the Super Bowl. Like, it's fine. And then another guy who's like 4 cubicles away, hey, is Nate okay to talk about the Super Bowl? Because I talked to him about sports and stuff. I was like, yeah, it's cool. It is what it is. Like, whatever. He's like, well, man, that was rough and it was kind of heartbreaking. I just want to give you your space. I don't want to be someone who's like rubbing it in because you just started working here 6 months ago. So I don't even know you like that, right?
Letting you grieve,
And then-
man. Just letting you grieve a little bit.
It was nice and it was pleasant, right? Except that same day, I'm working with somebody on a project. They say, hey, I'm going to include you in on this email, right? On this email thread or whatever. I'll forward them to you. Okay, cool. Thanks, right? Kind of understand the grasp, the gist of what we're doing or whatever like that. He's going to send me the amplifying info. Sends me the email, Tony. I literally click on it, and this guy works maybe 50 feet away from me. I click on it, and I'm reading it. Walks over to my cubicle and says, hey, I just sent you that email. It talks about this and this and this, all the same stuff we already talked about. Sends me the email, and then walks over to say, hey, I sent you an email. You'll see it in your thing. While you can clearly see it's on my fucking monitor that's 32 inches wide, really fucking big, and it's the exact same email that you just sent me. Asshole did it 3 times on Super Bowl Monday. Not the talks about football that bothered me. It was about sending an email and saying, by the way, I just sent you an email. Oh, yeah, I see that you're reading it. By the way, let's talk about that. I can fucking read it. And then I finished reading it, and it's everything that he said. Either talk to me about it, because I got a fucking brain and I can remember, or send me the email and shut up. I don't need you coming over and saying, hey, I sent you an email. That would be like me, Tony, sending a package to your house, knowing that it got delivered at 4:30, walking over at 4:45, after scouting your house to see that you did go outside, pick it up, you're wearing the thing that I sent you, because maybe it's a Rams jersey or something like that, and I say, hey, Tony, I just want to let you know I mailed a box to your house. I know it has a gift receipt that says it's from Nate, but it's a Cooper Kupp jersey that's blue, and it's yellow, and it's white, and it has his number. On the back, it says KUPP. I just wanted to let you know and make sure that you're aware that I sent it to you as you're wearing it. Stop doing that shit. Between plug toilets, shit popping up at us, our pets' heads falling off, the Niners losing the Super Bowl, Joe Flacco being comeback player of the year, Tony getting robbed of Nipplegate from Janet Jackson. Do you have any last words for the listeners, Tony?
See you guys next season. See you all next season. I think Nate has some stuff planned for the offseason. We're going to talk about coaches at some point. I've already started compiling some talking points.
Yeah.
Lots some gaps. More rants, some bitching. Got some more bitching coming your way.
I got a whole list. I have to scroll on my list for bitching. Oh, all right. Thanks for listening to this show.
I do have one more. I have one more rant. Okay. If you're at the urinal, why are you pissing so much on the floor? Your thing's there. No. It's inside the urinal. God. Why is there so much piss in front of the urinal? People are stepping in it and tracking it. So I do a good job of not stepping in it. But when people track it everywhere, we're all stepping in it. And
not all of us can. Look, Tony, not all of us can stand 1.5 feet away and still be able to point the damn thing down into the water. Okay?
I'm very close.
Some of us have white parents. I have a white dad.
Yeah. I regret opening up this can.
Yeah. Put in the comments how big you think Tony Schlong is.
You're terrible.
Matt'll do it.
Just since we're talking bathroom etiquette, like that one chaps my ass just as much as the people not courtesy flushing.
My ass can't get chapped because it's full of fucking water from the toilet bowl. But we had the same incident in our bathroom. You know the bathroom I'm talking about, right across from the door that leads into my office, right? Yeah. The first one, which I like to use because it's like the one for kids and stuff like that. So it's a shorter one. That way I don't bottom out when I try to use the urinal or nothing like that. I don't like water on the tip of my wiener. But I always use that one. It's like the first one or whatever like that. Most people use it. But one time I went in there was a big ass puddle. It was almost like someone just strategically dumped. Like, you ever watch The Secret Life of Alex Mack where she turns into like some type of liquid or whatever like that and can transfer? It was on Nickelodeon. She would like turn into like some silverish liquid and then be able to move under walls and all that kind of stuff. Old Nickelodeon show. But it was like that, like a perfect size puddle. So I move over like 2 stalls, and then another dude, he was another guy that was in the Middle East with, he comes in and he just starts fucking laughing. He's like laughing so hard. He's like, how do you pee all over the floor? You're standing right in front of it. Like,
I don't get it, man.
And it wasn't like the urinal was backed up, so you can be like, oh, someone fucking threw their dip in there and it got stuck, because urinals suck. That's why. Nothing. No, it's just a normal thing. Someone took a leak. And I was like, I'd much rather respect like somebody just dropping a deuce in there and then like walking in and seeing a fucking an 8-inch log, right? Like, okay, that's an asshole move, but respect, you got away with it somehow.
Dude, that would take me back to like elementary school. I remember we had a kid who did that. Hilarious.
Yeah, I think that's it.
That's all I got.
But yeah, follow the show on Spotify, rate us, and subscribe on Apple. You'll get all the notifications when we put this stuff out. If you want to hear us talk about specific things in the off season, we're gonna tally up some stuff on coaching, player movement, needs for rosters by division, and all that kind of stuff. We'll recap some of our predictions from the year as well when we get into those type of things. But let us know here in the comments. For Tony, I am Nate. Banger of the Week, Black Sheep by Metric and Brie Larson. This is Taco Corp episode 135, Super Bowl recap. Bye.